Hello and welcome to 15 Minute Gamer. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more videos, and for as little as 99 pence you can now join. Just click the join button above. Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Tony, and we're back with some more Escape from Tarkov. I apologise for the lack of Escape from Tarkov content lately. Just with the wipe weapon coming, it's gone a little bit weird to say the least, with people running the best gear and guns all over the place, ammo all over the place, the flea market's just weird. So what I decided to do is look at what I'm going to do after the wipe. Like, how am I going to get level 10? What weapons am I going to use? What armor am I going to use? Helmets, that sort of thing. And I basically, instead of running the best or semi-best gear, I've went back to basics. And I'm going to do a little video for you. So this is a video on, I've picked 4 guns, which I've been experimenting with, and I think I have a favourite out of them, and which I think will be useful for you guys who are going to be experiencing the wipe soon to run with. I've also picked some armour and a helmet, but there's not much choice. So without further ado, let's get into Escape from Tarkov and have a look to see what I picked. So before we get stuck into the weapons, let's have a look and see what you'll be taking in the raid with you. There isn't much choices at level 1, so this is what I'd recommend. Ragman, level 1. You want the SSH 68 helmet. This helmet has saved my life on so many occasions. And it might look basic, but what you're looking at here is the high ricochet chance. That means basically if there's a bullet flying towards your head, there's a high chance it'll ricochet off. It's armor class 3, not the best. You don't have any options at this level, really. And some people don't like running with helmets because you do get a little bit of a buff to your stats, like see movement speed -2, change -8, and ergonomics -13. But for me, it's always worth wearing a helmet because, to be fair, most times people go for headshots, and if something can save you just with a slight ricochet chance, it's always worth it. And for 17 grand, you can't go too far wrong. Next up is the armor. There's, again, choice is very limited, but you want to be heading towards the Packer. The Packer is only a level 2. It has 50 armor points, though, which is actually quite high. So it won't save your life all the time, and especially this time in the game, especially late wipe, pointless run, you might as well just be naked. But early wipe, when people haven't got that ammo, haven't got the money, this thing could save your life. So it's always worthwhile taking armor into the raid. Next up is Comtax. For those who don't know, Comtax basically amplify the sound of things around you, so you can more gauge where noise is coming from, especially when you're inside buildings and stuff. Unfortunately, these ones aren't that great. They're a little bit poor, but again, they're only 12 grand. The ones I normally run are the Comtac 2s. These do amplify the sound. I would always recommend wearing Comtacs on most raids. The only ones I wouldn't really wear them is maybe Factory or Woods. Because Woods is quite open anyway, you can kind of figure out where things are, but I always wear Comtacs, always take them. And for your beginning loadout kit there, you've got your 12,000 rubles Comtacs, you've got your 17 grand on your helmet, and 20 grand on your armor. It's not that much. I would also, as a side note, if you can afford it, take a balaclava on your raids. I wear these now, just because it helps hide your face and makes you be able to be less seen by people, so always wear a balaclava. Next, Therapist, level 1. Do never ever not go into a raid without painkillers in an AI2 med kit. I hotbar these, so the painkillers are on number 4 and the med kit is on number 5. Car med kit is always worthwhile bringing along anyway if you can afford it. Again, it can heal you up a lot more than what these can. So these are sort of things you want to be heading into. Backpack wise, there isn't much choice at level 1. In fact, hardly any. What you want to kind of do is get level 2 and get the Scav backpack. You're going to find these on Scavs all the time, so you're probably going to find them, but they've got a lot of space if we have a look and open it up. Just while it's searches, you can get quite a lot in there. Always worthwhile bring the backpack. Always bring a backpack to your raids. With this one, you've got some level 2 dog tags. You might be able to grab it. This one here has a sling, which you could get for 1,000, but again, there's not much can go into it. You got 6 spaces. probably not worth it. So you want to kind of get the level 2. Once you get level 2, you can get the scav backpack. So you want your helmet, your contacts, your balaclava, your scav backpack, which is down here. And again, it's only 15 grand. It's not that much money. And that's kind of what you want to be kitting out to go out into your raids. And if you keep the same kit every time, you'll get used to how it moves, how it behaves, and how everything reacts once you've got it. So now that you're kitted up, it's time to look at weapons. I've kind of picked one from each category. So I've looked at sniper / long range. I've looked at automatic. I've looked at semi-auto. And I've also looked at SMG as well. So I've kind of picked one from each category. And the first one we're going to look at is the SKS. This is from proper level 1. It is 22,000. Now this gun here, as you can see, the recoil's not too bad. Accuracy is pretty good. Ergonomics is okay. But again, with all these guns, you're very limited what you can do from the beginning anyway. Now, when we're looking at this, if we edit the preset, there's not much you can do with it because of the way things are. You're going to have to run with iron sights. And if we look here, what I would do, though, is if you can get it, the SKS A5, which you can get from Peacekeeper, that extends it to 20 rounds, which makes it a little bit better. And I like the SKS. I ran the SKS OP for a while. In my game, I love the SKS OP. Such a good gun. In fact, let's have a little look at it. It's a little bit easy. I mean, this is that the one I want? Yeah, that's the SKS OP. I was running that for ages with multi-sight on. But obviously, that's a little bit way down the line. But yeah, all you can do really is extend the magazine, and I would recommend that. Just get the magazine extended. It's not that much money, and you'll be able to run a much better gun. The ammo I'd recommend is the PS ammo. It's really good ammo. In fact, early game, it's probably one of the best rounds you can get. It's not great for close combat, this gun. It's not the best, but for them long-range engagements early on, it's going to be one to fight with. So yeah, look at that. It's cost you, what, 22 grand? With that, not much, 22 grand for a gun that's going to knock most people out of the park, especially with that PS ammo. And if we move on to the second gun, which is the AKM Weber. Now, the reason I chose this one is A, you can customize it a little bit so you can make it look a little bit nicer, you know. You want to run with a nice weapon. You can also put a PKO6 on it at this level as well, which isn't too bad. And it also runs the 366 TKM ammo, which again, there's only a couple of choices, which makes it easier to pick an ammo, and they're all right for, well, beginning game, they're actually quite good. Also on top of that, scavs generally have Weber AKMs, so you're also going to get them back all the time as well, or you're going to be able to get parts quite easy for it. Now, this build here, what I recommend you do is put the Ultimac M1B gas tube on. It costs next to nothing. I think it's about 2,500 rubles. That means you can then put a sight on it. I usually go PKO6. I like the PKO6 one. Apart from that, I would change the stock from the wooden one to the polymer. Again, it's pretty cheap. And also change the pistol grip to a plastic one instead of that wooden one as well. And it just makes the gun look a lot nicer. So yeah, this total build's going to cost you, well, the parts added on are around about 20,000 rubles, which isn't that much. The stats here, it is single fire. You can get one of the other AKs, but I chose this one just because of how it is. You can see there the recoils. I mean, you wouldn't want to do that in later game, but in later game, it's not too bad. But for me, it's a versatile gun. It's got decent rounds for it. You can mod it a little bit. You can put things on as you find them. And you're easily going to be able to replace it just by killing scavs. So, yeah, I do recommend that weapon. It is quite a fun one to use. Even with single rate of fire, you know, even if you just press that button over and over, you get a decent one. Next up is a semi-automatic rifle. And what I'm recommending for this one is the ADAR. Now, the reason I picked the ADAR is, well, it's twofold really. First fold is it's actually quite easy to mod, but when you first starting off, one of the only things you can do is put a CAC rear on it. That means you basically get a little bit more ergonomics to it. If I take that off, see, it's not much, but you know, every little helps. Every little helps. This gun here, semi-automatic rifle. It's got a higher muzzle velocity than the Vepr. It's also got a lot better recoil as well. The only problem is you can't put a sight on it yet. You won't be able to do that. Again, when you do put a sight on, PK06 is great. What you can do on this though, and it's pretty easy to do, is put a silencer on it. And all you need to put a silencer on it is the which one is it? Is it the CAC? Yeah, the CAC. So all you need is the CAC QD, which you can get in the early levels, and the NT4 black silencer you'll find quite often in weapon crates and stuff. It's actually quite common. In fact, if I looked at all silencers I find it's quite a lot. So this one you can make silence pretty easy as long as you find the parts. And plus, if you get used to using the ADAR, you can make one hell of an awesome weapon. And just to show you, look on here, ADAR. Look at this I think it's ADAR upgrade. Yes, let's discard it. You can actually make it like this. And once you make it like these, you can put whatever you like on it. If I look at the M4 build, which is pretty much the same. In fact, if you do the, you can actually make it almost semi-automatic as well. I mean, just look at that thing. That is expensive. I think that is, yeah, 157 grand for that gun. But it just shows what you can make the ADAR like. And, you know, when you find parts, you can upgrade it. And you can change it into an absolute beast of a gun. So, yeah, I'd highly recommend the ADAR as a good start. I like the ADAR. I'll be probably running that. Gun number 4 is going to be an SMG. And the only one you can really get, well, the best one, I suppose, is the MP5. Now, what's good about the MP5 is the recoil. It's a laser beam. You point that at someone, it's going to take them down. The ammo as well is not too bad. It does a lot of flesh damage as well. And you'll hear it quite a lot in the Tarkov community of leg matter. Even if they're wearing armor, you aim this thing at their legs, they're going down. Doesn't matter how good their armor is. The only thing that is a little bit funny with this one, you actually won't be able to have this rail until later on. You'll have to use iron sights. So it'll kind of be like that. But again, even with iron sights, you're not going to be running this miles around. And you're not going to be aiming across the map with it. You're going to be aiming close up, close quarter combat. And it is a good one. The only thing is with this is if we go into Peacekeeper, this is where you get it from, and I've just clicked on bloody mechanic Peacekeeper. Look at level 1. You have to trade for it, and it's 8 knives. Now you get these knives or scavs all the time. Kill 8 scavs, you've got your 8 knives. You'll get these on most scavs. So again, 8 knives is a little bit of a funny one, but the ammo and it's the stats, more than stats on it than anything. I mean, your recoil's just so good. You just point and spray. Ergonomics is really good as well, so you can aim for ages. And it is upgradable as well. If you find parts for it, you'll be able to put silencers on it, sights on it, whatever you like. So really, overall, it's a good gun. Now, there is other choices, and the only other choice I would probably throw in there for kind of another weapon, because you're going to have to get used to it, is the Mosin. There's no other choice. Some of the early quests you have to use the Mosin. I personally not a huge fan of it. But as you can see there, it's 33 grand, or you can trade in 2 D-Bats and 4 AA batteries for it. And later on you'll be able to get one for sight, and the sight's pretty easy to get. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Mosin. I miss most of my shots with the Mosin, but I thought it was worthwhile throwing in there that the Mosin is an option. And the fact is, at some point you'll have to run with it anyway, because a lot of the early woods quests, they kill like 15 scavs with a Mosin. So you might as well get used to it at some point. And that's my recommendations. For me, it's going to be the SKS or the ADAR, depending on what mood I'm in. Probably the SKS, to be fair. 22 grand a pop. I'm not going to be that bold. I can also get it off scavs. I can put... There's not much upgrades I can do with it. The ADAR is more upgradable, which is why it'll probably be my weapon of choice. But it'll be interesting to see when the wipe comes, what everyone runs and what we can get hold of. But yeah, they're my 4 choices. It suits all different play styles there. The only reason I avoided any of the AKs because of the ammo users. You can only use the rubbish ammo at the beginning, and the penetration and damage is not that good, so I've avoided them. And plus with the Weber Hunter, you can just pick it up quite easy, which is why I recommend it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.